Well, hello and welcome to the Fab Show. I'm Joy Willett and I'm your host today. And this is the show where we explore our fabulous lives. And I'm so excited because today we have an expert panel of guests who will be sharing with us their thoughts on how to prepare for 2025. So, are you ready? Let's talk. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Yay. Well, this is going to be a great show for our audience because, as we know, there's lots going on in our world, isn't there? So I'd like to go around and I'd like you to just say your name and where you're beaming in from. So, Sherry, let's start with you.
Sherry Gideons, and I'm beaming in from Phoenix, Arizona.
Hey, awesome. Jason.
Hi, Jason Antalek. I'm beaming in from Vegas, but I'm actually from Colorado.
That is very cool. Yay. And Tamara.
My name is Tamara Hunter, and I am beaming in from the Ozarks in the middle of the United States.
Gosh, we probably, thank you and welcome. We probably have a lot of different weather scenarios going on, right, in some of our areas here. And I'm beaming in from Southern California, where we've had some interesting issues, let's just say that, with fires all around. So here we go. We're going to talk about how to prepare for 2025 and all the different ways that we can, right? So let's start with our first guest and see what she has to say.
Hi, my name is Sherry Gideons. Being prepared in 2025 isn't about fear, it's about alignment. The old world is fading and a new reality is emerging, one where we create from love, intuition, and divine knowing. Now more than ever, your thoughts, your energy, and your vibration, they shape your reality. And so preparation means mastering your mind, protecting your energy, and stepping fully into your power. The shift is here. And the question is, are you ready to step into the new earth and become the conscious creator you were born to be?
Gosh, Sherry, that is so wondrously calming. So I'd like to bring you up stage here and tell us a little more about, give us one tip for the audience here, Sherry, about how to prepare in that calm way that you already exhibit all the time so wondrously.
Yeah, so it's really all about knowing ourselves and being present in the moment and really committing and developing consistency daily in waking up in the morning and creating a ritual for ourselves, whether it be writing in our journal, whether it be asking questions, but just centering ourselves in silence and allowing the intelligence, the gift within us to come through us. And we get to experience more joy, fulfillment, and love.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Well, we're going to come back to that, I'm sure, as we flow through this panel here. So I'm going to bring you back here, Sherry. And right now, what I'd like to do is also have someone else share their perspective. And I can hardly wait for this because your guys are going to be smiling all over when you hear our next guest.
Hello, I'm Jason Antalek, and being prepared in 2025 means three big A's to me. The first one is awareness, attitude, and action. I would say that being aware of what's happening around us, at least making some kind of effort to understand what's going on from multiple perspectives instead of a singular perspective, a level of awareness that allows us to be prepared for the unexpected. And there we go with the attitude. We being willing to adjust and adapt as things move along, because action is where we're headed. If we're going to be prepared, that means we're prepared for something. That means something is going to happen. And therefore, if our attitude is good and our adaptability is in place, then it's pretty easy with our awareness to move into action that aligns with what the collective goals can really be. Not just about what a singular goal is, but what it can be for everyone brought together. So being prepared in 2025 for me is all about awareness, attitude, and action.
Well, gosh, Jason, I am actually chomping at the bit. I'm going to bring you back in here to hear what you have to say as an example of action,
Oof. Can I first give just a huge shout out to that opening video? Are you kidding me with that thing? I feel like such a superstar. And then we've got those the all the beautiful pans and then the fireworks. Yeah, I love to come on a show that has fireworks. I'm so jazzed to be here. I was almost so excited that I kind of forget what you asked me. The being prepared in this day and age, the awareness to me is I guess it's just paramount in all of the things. We're headed to awareness. We've got to have some kind of attitude to make it work, and we're going to take action. This is a time for action. We are the people that we've been waiting for. It's stepping into the opportunity for things to be different if that's what we want, or to maintain the same thing if that's what we need. But it really is about showing up in a way that to me is about being in our personal integrity, regardless of what that is. And if I continue to show up that way, the best that I can, things seem to work out pretty good. The actions go pretty well.
Awesome. I love that. And you know what? It really flows with what Sherry was bringing also to the front of, the practice and really knowing oneself. And that's kind of what I'm hearing you say too, Jason. Who else would like to tag off of that or add something? Yeah,
I'd
Tamara.
love to. I love both of what you had to say, because of the fact that when you talk about preparedness, which is such a big thing in my life, is that you're really starting that the action is absolutely important, and the attitude, and it is truly a mindset. It is a matter of a decision, a priority, because and we'll be discussing this a little bit when you see what I prepared, and that is that when we take this attitude, like you were sharing, and the awareness, the mindset, then it translates. You have this thirst of knowledge. You want to do some practical implementation to then create the action, and that's going to make a huge difference in a 911 or an emergency situation, and in life in general. I think it's just great. I don't want to say practice. Yet in a way, it's like exercise, or it's like you get into a ball field and you're practicing. Why? Because it becomes a part of your DNA. It becomes a part of your muscle memory. And I think that that's what we're after right now in 2025. I think it's just such an appropriate subject. So thank you, both of you, for everything you just shared.
Well, Tamara, with that, we're going to go right into your share right now, and then we're going to see what flows out of that. So let's listen.
It's the middle of the night. You are in a deep sleep, and you hear a knock at the door. They are yelling, "Get out now. Your life depends on it." You go to turn on the light. Where are your shoes? Where's your car keys? Are you ready? My name is Tamara Hunter, and I have been studying and teaching about this subject for decades. I want to share with you today, right now, 3 simple ideas. Number 1, if you are prepared, you will not be fearful. It is a mindset, and you must start now so that you will stay calm in an emergency situation. Number 2, we must include our youth, our children, our grandchildren. It will make a huge difference through a 911 situation. It will also empower them. It can be fun, and it will help them to save their own lives. And it is generational. Number 3, the power of 3s. You talk to anyone, or you listen to the interviews of those that have been through major events, and there have been plenty of them lately. You hear common denominators. Number 1, they're grateful to be alive. Yet, they are sorrowful because they no longer have those pictures, that priceless memento, the memory of the family, their lives that have been shattered. The power of 3 will help in that situation. We will discuss that here today on the show. The most important thing is, if you are prepared, you can save your life and the lives of those that you love.
Well, gosh almighty. I mean, it's like, we have our beautiful mindset and practices and awareness, and then suddenly, boom, we've got like how to be prepared. Look, I love your helmet. That's a real helmet, isn't it, Tamara?
Yeah, it's a real helmet. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm sure we're all going to have a lot to flow and to add in. And again, if anyone has something they are like, it's coming up and want to share, just raise your hand. Oh, Jason.
I really am, because Tamara, you really sparked something for me about and I referenced it about showing up, right? Kind of that being prepared, having those layers in place, the sort of the things that we know that we need to show up in that moment. And you're right that the power of 3 sparked a couple of things for me too, that it's different angles of something coming together in a moment when there's a possibility to panic, and it might not actually be the wrong reaction. Panic sometimes saves us, but to be able to show up and run towards something in that moment, to be able to support and help ourselves and others at the same time, that really does come with not just not everybody's born with that. Not everybody is willing to do that, but it is something that we can put together for ourselves. So even if we talk a lot about fear and how that gets in the way, I have a strong belief that fear is usually made up of 2 other things at a minimum. So as soon as I'm noticing fear, I'm going to see if I can break that down into a couple other things. There might be a reason for that. There might be a reason to panic, but most times that's not true. So being able to show up in that calm and have that resolve in the moment when it's truly necessary to be able to help people, especially those we care about. I love that you really brought that to the front, because that's something for me that this last few weeks that I have witnessed firsthand. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Showing up and how not losing it in the moment really can make a situation much smoother, even when it's a crisis.
May I step on, or go ahead, Sherry?
No, go ahead, Tamara.
Yeah. Okay, what I wanted to share also, with the power of 3 washes through everything in preparation and in preparedness. And in what I wanted to also dive deeper into and giving some actionable tips in the power of 3, because when I have taught this subject, which I have for many, many decades, it's always been, if you do a little preparation, it goes a long way. And when I was raising my children, they just knew it was part of the drill of home. And now I have grandchildren, and my grandchildren are learning it. Where did I learn it? From my parents. So it's been generational. And when you do a little prep work, then in the moment, you can be, like you were just sharing, Jason, you can be much more, you can be present. You can take that deep breath that you can, okay, the lights are going off. You go to turn on the light, and does the light turn on? That's the question. Where is everything? So, and we did one other power preparation show that we can reference later, but I wanted to talk about the picture situation and the memory situation and the important documents, the things that are in a 72-hour kit, because this is also practical. Write this down, guys, that we can actually, the power of 3, ask yourself, okay, if something happens, do I have whatever it may be in 3 places? That's one of the powers of 3. So with pictures, important documents, even your driver's license, passports, all those type of things, do you, not the originals, but do you have those items in 3 different locations? Power of 3. Simple things. It can be, do you have an external hard drive that you've put everything onto? Do you have a cloud? That would be 1. A cloud, possibly number 2. And it could be anything else, like you even send one of these to somewhere else. So you've got them in 3 different locations. If anything happens, it doesn't matter if you're at home, doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the night, these important documents, these important pictures, and even video, some of your like your family heirlooms. And so that those things, you're not worried about them. That gives a lot of peace. And also, when you bring in the children and they get involved in it, they will, it's pretty crazy, because my true story, one of my adult children now, he remembers this drill way back in the day. And the most important thing was his baby blanket.
Oh, gosh. Oh, that's amazing. That's wonderful. So I just want to remind people, hold please. There you go.
It doesn't have to be expensive. It can, whatever you've got. Even if you have some of these, just do it, because it could make a difference of the calmness.
Yeah, Sherry, go ahead. Love to hear.
Yes, I love what everybody is saying on the panel. And, from my own life's experience and having gone through tremendous adversity and walking homeless on the streets and, going through a lot of these things that we're talking about today, what really came up for me is about understanding that everything that's showing up in the present moment is calling us to tap back inside, because it's how we respond in the present moment. If our habit is to respond from, fight or flight or fear or drama or what I like to call lower emotions, then a lot of these things that show up in our present moment happen as a result of what we're giving out, that old idea of what we give, we receive. And so 2025 is truly about developing these inner habits of going inward. I love what Tamara said about, having, a box or things where your passport and pictures and all these things. It's funny because I was literally just talking about how I have 3 Sterilite boxes in my garage. One is all of the baby pictures and everything with all of my kids. The other is all the important paperwork. And then the other is mementos from different phases of my life and things that that I cherish. But I really want to emphasize that it's about this inner work that we're doing in the present moment, and how the more we trust that inner guidance and really let go of the external noise, then we open ourselves up to higher experiences of what I like to call good and greater good.
That is, I love how that, Sherry, that you bring that from your experience, like you've had some dramatic experiences, and yet now you've discovered too how to create that calm and yet be prepared, like what Tamara's saying. When we are prepared, too, and especially if we have children and families too. I love that legacy of including our loved ones, whether it's our neighbors or our children and grandkids. Then we are able to come from that place of calmness too. We can just kind of go right into action, especially as we are thinking about what is going on, not to create it, but just to acknowledge this intense, crazy kind of world where we are walking our paths. And Jason, what say you?
I really like how you're pulling it together there, Joy, and I love what Sherry was focusing on and saying that the mementos, that we've got these things that we have the opportunity to not be concerned because we've covered those bases. I think that adds to us being in a place to show up in that present moment. And I think that, Sherry, I really appreciate that you're kind of pointing back at that thing, because not every situation has the luxury of grabbing whatever it is available. Right. So while those bases can be covered, we may or may not benefit from that in the moment. We have no way of knowing, but that peace of mind allows us the opportunity to let go of certain aspects that we might be pulled towards, to, like you said, be present in the moment. And what does that really mean? And I think that's a place that we could really benefit from explaining to others, especially those of you that have had these experiences for yourselves, is what does it mean to meet that moment? And I have close things to this. A lot of like the fires and things in LA that we've experienced. I've talked to people that have been through that. I have a dear friend in Colorado that experienced the Marshall Fire a few years ago. So when I knew I was going to LA, I'm talking to her and saying, what am I walking into? What do folks here need? What are they going through? Because I don't have a way to relate. Right. And that brings me back to what I shared about the awareness. And in the moment, having the realization that even though I don't have maybe the direct experience, that just getting a point of view and getting outside myself allows me to not be in a wedged place to react. Right. And again, we're coming back to meeting that moment. And what does that mean for somebody like me that maybe has attached to it or 1 degree removed, but hasn't necessarily walked that exact path? So showing up means a lot of different things, and we don't have to have had this specific experience to be able to help others with it.
I love that. That is really, really important, Jason, too, so that people don't have to be going, I don't know, I've never been through a disaster, I don't live, how can I help? But just having that awareness, and I would say compassion. And I know, Tamara, you wanted to chime in here, so.
Yes, thank you. I have lived in the middle of it all, and a few times. And as a mom I was a single mom of kids, and we were going through one of the big fires in Southern California. I had my mother having to evacuate to go get her, and I had a daughter that was down in San Diego proper. And the freeway was closed. I had special needs kids and a dog in my car trying to go get my mom, and my car died. They closed the freeway. They're getting everybody off. And I'm like, okay, what do I do here? It was the moment. It was that moment in time that, like, thank goodness I had had all the preparation and training that I had had up to that. I kept it together. Afterwards, I was like exhausted. And it's like, But during that moment, I was able to get the help that I needed, get off of the freeway, make sure that my daughter was okay. And this was pre-cell phone, and be able to keep it together, get my mother where she needed to, evacuate her, and make it through the day, and keep my young kids that were freaking out okay. They, to this day, remember that experience and remember that, hey, we made it. And it was that prep work of the mindset work that I do believe I give all the credit to, because you don't anticipate what experience you're going to have until it happens. You're in the middle of it, and it's like, okay, it's okay. We'll get through this. And we did.
Exactly. And just like Jason and Sherry have been sharing too, to have that mindset and that calmness, because again, like you were saying, Jason, too, we don't know. I mean, if there's an emergency like what we've had up here, near where I am in near LA, and suddenly there's, the firestorm and nobody is allowed to get back to their house. You can't retrieve those boxes. You can't retrieve that backpack. You can't retrieve those mementos that hopefully you have put in 3 other places, which I love, Tamara, too. Then you have to be able to respond from that place of calm also for others, whoever is with you. And there is that part of, like you were saying, Tamara, when you are going through a traumatic and dramatic experience, that adrenaline naturally kicks in. It is a natural response. It's part of being human. And it is to keep you going through that. And then finally, a lot of people, after they get through it safely, it's to get you through whatever it is safe. Then there's that crash or that falling apart, that the nerves and everything shakes. I mean, it's a real phenomenon. And what? Yes, Sherry, please.
Yeah, it's so funny we're talking about this subject because, believe it or not, when I was 18 years old, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I ended up joining the California Conservation Corps, and I became a forest firefighter. And obviously went through all of those experiences. And so I can empathize, again, when you're faced with, something that causes that emotion in you of fear. But I really want to emphasize that 2025 is about understanding these emotions in ourselves. It's about understanding that state that we come from within ourselves, because that's when we can take back our power. That's when we begin to realize, yes, I understand that these experiences can be challenging and they can cause all kinds of emotions. But at the end of the day, who are we on the inside?
Yeah.
These sometimes teach us valuable things about ourselves, and we get to share that with the rest of our family. We get to realize what is truly important, and then we have a choice point. We get to move forward.
Absolutely. That is so right on and spot on, Sherry. And right now, and thank you for your love and your comments, but we have something very special to share. And I'll explain what that is. We have Purple Hearts Club is for those of our friends, especially one special person who has passed over. And so when we see a lot of hearts coming on our screen, we know that they are wanting to be remembered. And of course, their friends here and colleagues also do too. So we're going to do something a little different. Right now, I feel like this is a really good moment to watch something. And this is part of our legacy series. And after this, I want to hear how this touches you with regards to being prepared right now. And so here we go.
In the quiet moments, when the sun begins to rise, we find the strength within us. In the stories of our lives, not in gold or glory, but in hearts we've touched with grace, in the love we share with others, in each kind and gentle face. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. Through the trials and the triumphs, in the battles that we fight. It's the courage and the kindness that will always shine so bright. In the lessons that we teach and the dreams that we inspire. In the way we lift each other higher and higher. Your legacy is the love you leave behind. In the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. In the final song you sung, and the curtains drawing near, it's the moments filled with love that will echo year to year. In the footprints on the path that guide the lost and blind, your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind. Your legacy is the love you leave behind. In the hands you've held, the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. So let's live with open hearts and give with all our might. For the legacy we leave is a beacon in the night. In the echoes of our actions, in the whispers of the wind. Our legacy of love is where it all begins. Our legacy of love is where it all begins.
Your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind.
Sometimes I'm glad I have my little tissues right here. You know, my eyes start tearing up and I'm like, oh my goodness. That is created by one of our wonderful co-producers on the show, Steampunk Poe, and he is just this most amazing soul. And yeah, Gloria, thank you for, you know, it just brings everything right back to heart. And for me, I was just thinking, I'll just share my thought here, as I was thinking, you know, sometimes we don't know how much time we've got, especially when we have all the things swirling around that we do in this time, especially this year. So who would like to spin off of that or what's on their heart? Yes, ma'am. Let's put you up here. Thank you, Sherry.
Yeah, I mean, I had to hold back from tears, and I'm still having to hold back from tears, but I'm a survivor of 2 near-death experiences. I've died and been to the other side twice, and I was given a choice to come back in and share what we're talking about right here from that video. I was told as I came back into the body that I must help the world to understand that they must give of themselves freely without expecting, and love is all there is. I've spent 28 years mastering that from my heart, understanding what unconditional love truly means. And most of us don't even realize that when we align with our heart, it vibrates at a frequency that's 40,000 neurites more powerful than our brain. It emits a sound wave out into the universe that draws back to us what I said earlier, ease and grace. So I'm all about unity and every one of us giving to each other unconditionally.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that about you, and that's beautiful. And I will share my tissues with you too through the screen here with everyone.
Thank you.
I love you. Jason, what about you? What say you?
Well, Poe's right. I like the signs. I like what he has to say there. It was really, really easy to follow for me that love heals, nature heals, and heart, hope, compassion. That's where I can meet you, Sherry, and what you're sharing with unconditional love is compassion. And that is a space to me, once again, that helps me get outside of just myself to see things from an alternate perspective, from somebody else's view. Even if I don't fully understand it, it's not just mine anymore. And that offers a lot of opportunity to open our hearts and our space for others to accept not just ourselves, but have our own forgiveness and that for the situation in the moment. To really understand that it's, meeting things with this energy, with this intensity. We do the same thing when things are positive. It's the same kind of thing. And what I understand is to bring that energy in and bring it close in a way that we can understand it. Much like Sherry's saying, 2025, you want to step into an understanding about yourself. Take a look at those reactions. Take a look at what's actually around us. If I take a moment to do that, I can separate just enough to realize that I don't have to be my emotions. I don't have to be my reaction. I can actually make a choice. I can step forward in a way that feels good in more than one way. Back to that power of three, right? It feels like a combination of things coming together rather than just a singular reaction.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. Woo. Drum roll, another mic drop. Write that down. Oh, wait. I actually have something. Couldn't resist.
As a DJ for 25 years, I'm going to give you mad props on your drops. Okay. I'm just going to toss it right out there. Well done, Joy. Love it. Oh, so much fun. So much fun.
Wonderful. Well, that's cool to know you were a DJ. Tamara.
Yes. Yeah. I would love to be able to comment on Poe's offering for the Legacy of Love series, because of the fact that when I actually went to him and I said, okay, we're going to start within the Fab show, this subset, this Legacy of Love. And it really goes along with the whole tour of love, everything that we've been doing within the buddies. And it was to bring it all together. And you just said it. So both of you just like mic drop, right everywhere, all three of you, because when Poe came back with this, which he has a tendency to like give it to me right before we go on air whenever we have something new. And so I didn't get to see it until we went on air. And when we did it, the very first time, I'm like, you just really nailed everything. And so now, ever since that first showing, every single topic that we've gone through, it washes through that song, because what it is the eternal truth. It's like what you were just sharing, Sherry, that you had this choice to come back. My mother did too, way back in the day. And it is a choice. And sometimes it's not always the easiest choice, I'm sure. 2 times, my goodness. And yet that right there is such a love quality that you because on that other side, it's a tough choice from what I understand. And what an unconditional love you were sharing, and then to be given the task to go out there. The song that we just, one of the things that the Legacy of Love is where it all begins. And as this new year, we're still in January of 2025, barely, yet we are. And with everything going on out there, it is that full circle of life. And it's everything that you're talking about. And we can go into, again, the awareness, attitude, action. We can go into the power of 3, and we can be thinking abstract to concrete, then action oriented to actual, let's do something with the physical. And all of you that are out there right now, the write it down is start today. Start today with that attitude of, okay, I'm going to make a commitment to, in one way, enhance my life for that. How am I going to prepare for 2025 and what comes through? And so the song, to me, I think is so multi-layered, like an onion. And to, in both right now live and in replay, for our audience to be sharing their thoughts too. So that's what I wanted to share.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, these topics and this whole idea of being prepared from the soul level, right, Sherry, and from the mind and calm and awareness level, Jason, and then Tamara from the preparation also, because in order to prepare physically, you also have to have that state of mind and that calmness and that awareness. One of our guests, our beautiful guest, was not able to be with us today because he's out helping. He was flown across the country to help lessen stress at a university, and he's all over. But I want to play, I'm feeling inspired to play his video right now, our wonderful Michel Pascal.
I was disciple of the Tibetan master Shepa Dorje Rinpoche, also living in a monastery in Nepal. Of course, everyone we know in every spiritualities that any calming sound, a ball, a gong, a flute, can help the mind and the body. And of course, in any research in neuroscience since 50 years, we prove this evidence. But from a monastic perspective, the question is deeper than that. The benefit of any sound bath, any meditation or Reiki class depends on the calming mind of the teacher. Because through the balls, through the gong, we share our energy. So as a teacher, if we are not deeply stable, calm, if we have some emotional roller coaster, we share our stress, we share our toxic energy through the resonance of the balls with the person. How can we teach peace if we are not at peace? Thank you.
So that is, he had provided his video for a sound healing and frequency show that he was slated to be on in December. So, however, it comes to that basic premise. How can we help and in any situation, especially this year, and be prepared if we ourselves are not at peace? So, who wants to go?
Does anybody ever feel like you get hit with a cosmic fish? Because that's what I felt like just happened, right? It's the reminder, like whack across the face. Like if I'm the teacher and I'm not at peace, I am not teaching peace. Man, did I need that lesson. I wish he was here to say it again for us. Thank you for playing that, Joy. It felt like that literally was for me and needed to hear that at that moment. That was absolutely inspired. Thank you so much. And the truth of it, the truth of if we're in that moment, right? We're talking about showing up in that moment and how we want to choose to do that. And what does it take to show up the way we're looking to? What is it? What are the layers? What are the things we need to show up that way? I just touched my heart. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we thank Michelle. Yes. Sherry, I had a feeling you might be coming on next here.
I love it. Well, and I just want to say I'm all about the fun and the play as well. But two things that really came to mind is again, we can't change what we're not aware of. And it's this present moment that is revealing to each of us whether we are or are not aligned and embodied within our highest selves. Go back to Poe's video a few minutes earlier. We're all here to remember the power that we are. We're here to remember those attributes, those qualities that Poe showed in his video. Each of us is that already. And we're here in the present moment because what's showing up is showing us what is it we really want? Do we want to connect more with those emotions and that peace? that part of ourselves that will bring into our moments more of that feeling and vibration. Most people are unconscious that our thoughts are the electricity, and our feelings and emotions are the magnet. So what we put out, we pull back. So I can't say enough about the two gentlemen that have just shared these incredible videos, because they're speaking to all of our hearts and calling us back inwardly here.
Hold that thought. Absolutely right on, spot on, Sherry. That was really, I mean, everyone has such powerful in the moment. This is all in the moment, and everything is always in the moment, isn't it? That's where the power is. That's where the peace is. That's where the calm is. That's where we can come into a state of preparation also, so that we can not only help ourselves, but help others. Yeah. So right on. Oh, I know. I'm ready for some more tissues. This is so beautiful and lovely. And Tamara, I'm sensing something with you here.
Well, I want to recognize, that was a real fire helmet, because I do come from a fire family, and I right now, the here and now, let's be real, that this is a legacy show at some point, but right now, today, we have so many events that have been taking place and are still popping up. And I want to also recognize that the preparation that is done by those that go out, and when many are running out, they're running in. I think that it is so important for us to give them so much, if you will, props, and say thank you to those that are out there saving lives, saving property, putting themselves out. And it's that work and the mindset that they are all about it, that it's priceless, and that is their legacy. And I just wanted to, before the show ended, I wanted to say thank you to all of those, because I did do a poll, and I wanted to see in year 2024, outside of because we have a lot of people from all over the world that watch this show, and thank you. And where are we not aware of that there were major events? So many places. And so those people all over the world that prepare themselves to go in there and run in while we're running out, I want to personally say thank you.
That is so important and powerful, and like we're talking about mindset and calmness and everything that each of you teach and exude and bring to the world. And yet, as Tamara's saying too, she comes from a first responder background and family, and those first responders, I'm a volunteer first responder in our community, and I've done the training. It is, and Sherry, you did too. It's you are so prepared that, and for our veterans, thank you everyone. You are ready to go in and give up your life if need be. So while I'm getting my composure back, I'm going to play something really special that Tamara created for us. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. We thank all of our first responders, firefighters, everyone out there, our military, our police forces and sheriff departments, everyone and paramedics, nurses, everyone who's out there putting themselves on the line every day for us so that we can have this fabulous show and live our fabulous lives. We thank you, and we are indebted to you. And yet, with all of that, we've got a few more minutes here, and it's now when somebody has gone through those kinds of experiences of losing everything, of being in the floods in North Carolina, of being in the fires out here in California. I know I used to live in Colorado also, Jason. I know what it's like to have ash falling on your car and being ready to have to flee, if they come around with that bullhorn and say, get out now. We also we find, though, that people who have been through those experiences, like you were talking to, Sherry, and also Tamara, that there is a greater appreciation for being alive, for being able to be of service, and to also enjoy this precious life. So let's spin it off from there. So with the hope and the joy and the beauty that we get to live our lives. Who wants to go first?
I would like to just leave one thought too, is for those in my little clip, I also gave the little moment of those that have had the health challenges also, that for those that, and we have a nonprofit, a community of people, and we are all about the soft skills, if you will, what we've been talking about, the mindset, the humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love. And that is what we have seen miracles. We have seen miracles, and your miracle, Sherry, that you shared, absolutely, we've seen it. And I really want to highlight that also as part of this preparedness show, is that I am a survivor also. I heard those words. I lost my hair. I regrew my hair. I like my hair better now. And so, and it was a matter of the mindset. My doctor was like, I knew you were going to make it. And I'm like, okay, why? And he goes, because you knew you were going to make it. Boom. It's like, okay, there you go. So, thank you for also opening that up, Joy, to letting us all know that it is a matter of the showing up. It is the matter of that calmness and the peace that was shared by Michel. You're right, Jason. Absolutely. I mean, what did you say? Cosmic fish? I was
the cosmic fish. That's gonna happen.
That's good.
It's called Awakening,
like that.
folks.
We need a shirt on that one.
Oh yeah, Awakening. Don't recommend. Spiritual Path, 2 stars. Okay, there are days. It's a lot to take in, and we've talked so much about how we're preparing and how we're showing up in the moment, and we've talked a little bit about legacy, and I probably have a little different view about what legacy is to me in an overall sense, but where I can meet the road, which is really what we're doing in our conversation today. We're talking about where the rubber meets the road, is that legacy means, how did you love? Who did you care about, and do they know it? And did you show up in that in that moment? For me, that's the legacy to me. When somebody standing there when I'm gone can say they were there for me, then that's what I left. And the first responders, yes, those are the people that are running into the danger that we're talking about. They're the ones that are supporting us in those moments. That legacy is as strong as those people that come back into those communities. And that's what I've really heard from the foundation, the pillars of those communities in different spaces, not just in the fires, not just in the floods, but around the world, that we will rebuild right here. This is where we're going to be. And my dear friend that went through the fire, the Marshall Fire in Colorado about 3 years ago, she was the first one to move back into her neighborhood and to be that first person to rebuild, to deliver that hope. That's what Poe gave us on one of those cards, hope. That's what she said to me. My dear friend said, that is, if anything you can show up with, provide hope in a way that works for the people. Yes, they're going through a lot. Yes, it's difficult. But when there's hope, there's always a way.
I love that. I love that, Jason. Yes, Miss Sherry, here we grow. And you are next. Beautiful, Jason.
I just love it. I love what both of these two shared. Tamara, talking about what you shared, my grown daughter at 27 years old ended up with leukemia, the child's leukemia, and her biggest fear was to lose all of her hair. She thought that that is what determined who she was as a human being, her beauty. And what happened in me is I showed up as her spiritual teacher. She allowed me to walk her through, the questions. Who are you really on the inside? Who are you really? And that's really what I think all of this is speaking to all of us. It's asking each of us, what are we giving power to? Who are we really on the inside? And the quality of questions we ask ourselves determines the quality of life we live. So when we're willing to ask inside of ourselves, who am I really? And what is the legacy I wish to leave the day I die? Believe me, my daughter ended up overcoming it all and is in total remission, and now giving her message of legacy to the world the way she's meant to.
That is so powerful and beautiful, and thank you for sharing that. And we're ecstatic that your daughter is here and
thank you.
And glowing and growing, and that you're her mentor. Well, guys, our time has come to an incredibly fabulous end, and it's always sad and, to say aloha here. However, we have come to the end of the show, and I hope all of our audiences have enjoyed this and gotten out of this as much as I know I have, and I know our guests have. So with that, we will see you next week for another fabulous show.